Hi, and welcome to the Tea with Intuitives podcast. I'm Meli, an Akashic reader, past life psychic, and channeling coach.
And I'm Brittany, an esoteric healer, Akashic record reader, and authentic empowerment coach. Each episode, we answer one of your questions about spirituality, the Akashic records, energy healing, meditation, spirit guides, and the unseen world.
But this week, we decided to go rogue and tackle a subject we both love and we know lots of you are curious about: Earth Angels. But before we dive into this subject, Brittany, what tea are you drinking today?
I am drinking a really special London Fog blend. So it's not just Earl Grey, it's a blend that has like vanilla, something else. And do you say bergamot or bergamot?
Oh, English is my second language. I have no idea.
I don't know. I hear people say bergamot for like the oil, the bergamot oil, like the citrusy, to have like more of a citrus taste in the tea. But then I also hear people say bergamot.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. Do you say the tea or not?
We need to have a post in a story on Instagram asking people, are you team bergamot or team bergamot? Personally,
Yeah.
I'm team bergamot because this is what we say in French. We say bergamote.
That'll be our French word of the day.
And I always have the excuse that English is not my first language. So sorry if I'm not pronouncing it like you wish I would.
I don't know. I say bergamot just because when I was learning about different herbs and essential oils, someone in a shop that I was purchasing like the bergamot oil said bergamot.
And it sounds really chic.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the tea, and I want to introduce you to this really cool mug, you guys. It heats your tea.
Oh, nice. Oh, can you say what brand it is?
No, because my fiance got it for me yesterday or the day before. But if you're in the US, it came from Walmart, and I think it was like $30.
Okay, because I translated for one of those companies.
Oh, okay. There's a company out there that's super popular, but their mugs are like $200 or something.
Right. I think that's the company I translated for.
Well, I'm sure they're great because they heat your tea or coffee like all day,
They are
right?
so precise. You can decide the temperature. Can you do that with your mug?
Yes, this has 135 Fahrenheit, 140 or 145. And I will say the 135 is like pretty hot.
Wow. Okay. Now I want to get one, but it's my birthday next month. So maybe I'll just do a wink wink at Pierre, my husband, and say, that would be nice to have in my office.
Exactly.
Well, I'm here with my regular, the virtual background. I want to show people on YouTube. This is my matcha coconut tea in my Nespresso mug that I got for free a few years ago when we had a problem with our Nespresso. So yay!
Nice.
Yeah,
that's
so that's
awesome.
our drinks for the day.
Yum.
Yeah, so let's jump into our subject that I love, love, love. It's Earth Angels. So do you want to go first, Brittany?
I think you should start.
Okay. So the first time that I really heard about Earth Angels, the term, like I knew about it, but the term is when I read Ainsley MacLeod's book. I think it's in the instruction because he has 3 books. And Earth Angels is just a way that spirit guides manifest through us humans on Earth. So this happens when, for example, I'm in a place in my life that is really, really bad. I'm stuck. I'm on a bad path. Then a spirit guide will come and deliver a message through someone. And oftentimes that person will just say words of wisdom that they won't remember, or they will think it has no power, no weight, and it just changes completely our lives. And I'll give you a personal example. I've had an Earth Angel in my life. I mentioned in previous podcasts that I have been in a relationship with someone for over 3 years. And it wasn't a healthy relationship, and I really needed to get out of it. And now that I'm in communication with my spirit guides, they've told me that this relationship was only supposed to last like 3 to 6 months, max a year, but it was a matter of months. But I was stuck in that relationship because of so many reasons: fear of the unknown, fear of rejection, because I only knew that relationship and I thought I couldn't be loved by someone if I was out of it. There was also a feeling of being inferior and that person being superior and needing to lead me and guide me, which was so not the case. And after over 3 years, the spirit guides were like, we need to shake this up. She's not picking up on the signs, many signs that I had. One was that at some point I got so sick, I ended up in the hospital, and that partner wasn't there for me at all. He left me sick at home. I had to call my mother because I couldn't move anymore. He just visited for a few minutes at the hospital, and then the rest of the time it was my family taking care of me. And I had some other signs that he would just leave me and not care about me in some very important moments. And one day came this young guy who was my age, because the man I was dating was 17 years older than I was. So in came this younger man, and I didn't know, and of course he didn't know, that he was some kind of earth angel. And he came into my life, and all of a sudden, I just wanted to be with that younger guy. And he was, on paper, he was perfect for me. I was in the arts community. He was training as an actor. We had common friends. We had the same sense of humor, and I was very attracted to him. And so I told my partner that I had feelings for someone else and that we had to split up. And it was very hard because he was staying at my place, which he wasn't supposed to do, but he just kind of popped in there. And it was supposed to be a few weeks, and then it ended up being quite a long time. And so he needed to get out of my apartment, and I didn't want to throw him out, but at some point it wasn't manageable anymore. And that relationship with the younger guy was very short-lived, because all that I needed was to have the truth in my face. And that guy, who was an earth angel for me, would talk about that truth, about that past relationship that wasn't good for me, but still he was like, oh, but you're going to want to go back with that man. And that's what I needed to hear. I was like, no, never. And that made me so confident and independent. And I ended up being, he ended up leaving me, the new boyfriend. And it was very hard, but it was exactly what I needed. And it triggered a spiritual awakening path that I went on for over 3 years. And it's exactly what I needed to find myself. And I wouldn't be with my husband today if I didn't have that earth angel on my path, because I needed to find myself and be my own independent person. So this is an example of how an earth angel can shift you when you need to, but there are also earth angels that are there to help you when you are nearing death. But I want to hear your opinion on all of this, Brittany. Have you ever encountered one, or do you have a completely different definition of what an earth angel is?
I think that's a beautiful way to describe it. Also we all channel. Sometimes we just don't know if we're channeling. Laura Lynn Jackson is a medium, and she has a book out called Signs. And in that book, she talks about these signs from other people around us, where our loved ones who have passed, or our spirit guides, will kind of whisper in the ears of people around us to mention, an Elvis song while they're a cashier at a store. And what they didn't know was that Elvis was the favorite, singer and musician of a loved one of a customer who had passed. So all of a sudden, this person in the store and they hear their cashier talking about Elvis, and then it reminds them of their dad or their mom, and then they start thinking, and then that is just such a simple, easy example of how guides and loved ones channel through us all the time, even if we don't know it. Or if you're in the car and a certain song comes on, and that song is reminding you of some time in your life or someone that has passed or whatever it might be. It's almost like earth angels just are us when we're given the opportunity to be spoken to and influenced by spirit to support someone else on their journey.
Mhm.
So the biggest earth angel that I can think of is I used to be a barista at a coffee shop, and every Sunday this woman would come in. Her name is Wendy, and she would get her same latte every Sunday, and then she'd go down to this very spiritual church just down the road. And one day we started talking about um, readings and channeling, and I had never channeled at that point, at least not consciously. I had only done the energy healing. And she told me she's actually a trained practitioner in like Akashic record readings. And so she gave me the book How to Read the Records, How to Read the Akashic Records by Dr. Linda Howe. She gave me that book. And so that moment, looking back, in that moment, I didn't know how much that would change my life. But when I look back, I'm like, wow, she really was fulfilling an earth angel moment of gifting me that book. It totally changed my life. So I think that's a really good example of just these beautiful moments that are not coincidences, that just open your world up in a new way, and remind you that nothing is ever gone or lost, and you're always supported and you'll always be shown the way. Yeah, just earth angels. It's us being open to channeling divine, even if we are totally unaware that we're doing it.
Yeah, beautiful. I like that story. Yeah.
I think everyone is an earth angel, or can be, if they're open to it in that way.
Hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people just don't know that they are in the moment, that they are
Mhm.
channeling. Yeah, it happened to me a lot of times. Like I just ran into a neighbor recently, and he referred to some conversation we had last summer, and how something I said really changed his way of viewing things and was very impactful. And I was like, I have no recollection of having that conversation with you. So maybe I don't know how. We'll know in the long term how it has changed him if he ever speaks about it again. But yeah, I think that it's kind of sometimes we have these out of body experiences and we don't remember everything. I think it's kind of similar. We're in an altered state where there is divine intervention through us.
Mhm. There's a lot of times where I feel like, I don't know, if there's a song stuck in your head and you're grocery shopping or you're getting gas at the gas station or whatever you're doing, and you start humming that song or singing that song, there's a possibility that someone who was standing around you needed to hear those lyrics, or that song that you were humming or singing while you're checking out at the store. Or you just never know your impact and the ripple effect that you have on other people. You'll never know. You'll never know the small little moments that were so mundane to you, but had a huge impact on someone else. I mean, you could have been humming the lyrics to someone, someone's aunt that had passed, and it was their favorite song ever, and you somehow just started singing that song while you were shopping in your favorite clothing store or whatever, right? So it's like, you'll never know these little things that have such a big impact. But maybe we should give it a term. Maybe we should call it micro channeling or something.
Yes, I love it.
Micro channelings, where you do it, you don't know that you're doing it, but it has such a big impact.
Hmm. And I like how you mentioned the ripple effect, because when I channel for myself and my clients, something that the spirit guides often say when they talk about fear of inferiority or even the imposter syndrome, and people feeling like they are not important or they are not impactful, spirit guides are seeing it in a whole other light, because they can see the ripple effects, and they can see like the future is always in flux, but they can have glimpses of the ripple effects of our actions. And what they're saying is a smile, a thank you, just being a good person, just being attuned with your deeper self, with who you are, being authentic. That is huge, because we often want to know, what's my big life mission? I don't want to miss the boat. I want to be aligned with my life mission. And that's good. But we cannot be obsessed about this all the time. It would have so much weight on our shoulders. And spirit guides are saying, yes, once in a while, give yourself some objectives so that you have purpose, but also just be yourself, be a good person. And once we'll be on the astral plane and we will do the debriefing with our spirit guides, they're going to show us what we did and all the effects that it had immediately and in the future. And then we'll understand. But they're kind of like, trust the process. Just be yourself, have fun, be a good person.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good point. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think I was brushing my teeth or something. But one thing, and I think I was channeling a bit. I think I was more having a conversation with my guide. But it really hit me that, when we think about enlightenment, or we think about reaching the highest initiation here, that none of that means perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Enlightenment does not mean perfection. The end of the road in your human incarnation doesn't mean that you're ever perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing is, we can get so caught up in this mentality of trying to do things perfectly, trying to meditate perfectly, trying to have a perfect family, trying to be a perfect person in your workplace, or that perfect friend, or the perfect sister, or whatever it is, right? Just because we're putting ourselves in this headspace that says, in order for me to really advance my soul and grow and get to where my soul is going, it has to have we have to meet some sort of expectation or bar or whatever. And honestly, that's not the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the deepest things that we can do here on this journey is to find harmony. And whatever that harmony looks like for you, it's going to be different. The way that you find harmony in your life is going to be different
Mm-hmm.
than I find harmony in my life, right? If Meli wants to go skydiving every month because it brings her joy and she feels like her purest self during that, that's great. I probably wouldn't do that, right? But that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. That doesn't mean that, either way, that we find joy and we find harmony is our own path, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it still provides this path of soul growth. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And regarding perfection, actually, our souls, when we are on the astral plane, we reincarnate. I function with the 10 soul ages given by Ainsley MacLeod's spirit guides, and my spirit guides accepted to work with that structure that I was comfortable with. And so there are 10 soul levels or ages. And often people ask, when do we stop reincarnating? Like, we need to be perfect. We need to be like the Buddha. And it's like, no, we just decide that we came through all the 10 levels and we have a good grasp of what the human experience is, and we feel like it's good. We don't need to do it anymore. Like, enough karma is balanced, enough lessons are learned. It's not perfection, but it's just good. And something else that I want to mention also about perfection, there's this awesome woman that I follow on Instagram. Her name is Alyssa Boyer. I don't know if you know her. Her handle is Life by Alyssa, and she also has a podcast. And I really love, in one of her recent podcasts, she talks about how she's done with urgency. And oftentimes we have this sense of everything needs to perfect and happen right now. We need to do. And yes, we need to be consistent on some level. And I love how she said, I'm just done with urgency. And I think that the sentence, I'm just done with, and then insert whatever you wish, is so powerful. Like, I don't need this anymore. This is not serving me. And so we're recording this. This is actually the first podcast that we're recording in January. We're January 13th. Friday the 13th. So people, for the beginning of the year, maybe one homework that I could give to our listeners is to think about what's one thing that you are done with, that is not serving you anymore, and that can help you not being so focused on a perfection that you will never attain. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Yeah. And our earth angels, they're out there. They're going to give you the signs that you need along your way.
Exactly. Thank you for listening to the Tea with Intuitives podcast.
If you have any questions for us, you can send it at teawithintuitives@gmail.com or on Instagram or YouTube.
Your love for this podcast helps us grow and reach more like-minded souls, so don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast.
Have a beautiful week.